Will the keeper of the flame please bring forward the Christ candle? Namaste.
Good morning, beloved of God. Right where you are at this moment, the light of Spirit shines through you. Infinitely loved by God, you are the light of the world. I am Linda, and I welcome you to Unity Spiritual Center of Waco this morning. And if you haven't done so, please check your cell phones. Can you turn mine off? And please stand as you're able and join in our congregational singing.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where his feet pass. One more. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, even softly. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Statement of truth, which is on the screen. There is only one presence
and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. We are a beacon of love and light for those who need this spiritual home right now.
And let's say together our vision, mission, and our core value for today. Our vision:
To awaken an awareness of spirit in our lives through modern application of ancient wisdom.
and our mission:
Raise consciousness, transform lives, heal the planet, one person at a time, beginning with me.
And our core value for today is oneness.
We are all one in God and experience the interconnectedness of all life.
And Miss Penny will do the daily word.
The daily words for Sunday, today, February 26th, let go, let God. Holding on to what no longer serves me because it is familiar and I've grown accustomed to it may stall my growth. I evolve much more quickly when I trust my guidance and release old patterns and behaviors. In my heart, I know that when I move away from a dysfunctional relationship, a negative attitude, or unhealthy way of living, I move towards something greater: peace, safety, harmony, freedom, and fulfillment. I let go of anxiety or fear and open myself to happiness and security. I breathe in freedom. My heart becomes buoyant, my steps lighter. I set my intention today to release anything I've been fearful of letting go so that I can confidently move forward, open to infinite good. And from Matthew chapter 18, verse 18, truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. And our affirmation for today, which I'll say, and then we'll all say together: I bravely release outworn behaviors and embrace my bright, brilliant future. I bravely release outworn behaviors and embrace my bright, brilliant future.
Lucinda, thank you, Linda, thank you, Penny. This is the time in our service when we have an opportunity to get up and greet one another, to give each other a hug, a handshake, or to just welcome one another. And at this time, we welcome all of you who are joining us on live stream as well. We wish you were with us, but we know that you are with us in spirit and in live stream. So blessings to all of you. So let's get up and greet one another now. Seated, you may stay seated for our next congregational song.
May you rejoice in the and more. Open your heart with praise and thanksgiving. May you see God. May you awake to a world of beauty, lifted up from times of tears, aware of the grace that tenderly carries you. May you see God. May you feel God. Was there a time in your life you might have wished something unseen? Now you can believe it's real. May you look back on life's sweet memories, understanding all was right, and in the whisper of your last breath, may you see God. May you feel God. May
Well, as always, this is the time in our service when we bless children when they're present with us and bless the children of the world. And I'm going to let her represent all the children of the world today. I think she's really sweet, and we would wish that all children of the world would be like this, to be happy and to well and so forth. So let's rub our hands together with nice warm energy and hold them up and envision all the children in the world, especially those who are victims of war or violence or any other unfortunate thing. And so let's say, children of the world, we love you, we bless you, and we behold the Christ in you. I guess the fog scared everybody away this morning. So, good morning to those of you that are here and to those of you that are joining us by live stream. And it is a pleasure to welcome each of you to Unity Spiritual Center of Waco today. Together we affirm and celebrate our unity, our oneness with each other, our oneness with all that is, and our oneness in God. You know, your presence is essential, for each of us is a unique aspect of the energy that expresses as Unity Spiritual Center of Waco right here and right now. We know none of us is here by accident or coincidence. We remind you each week that unity is a new thought, but it is not new to the world. In reality, it's a synthesis of the greatest concepts from the minds and spirits of humankind across the ages. The laws of Moses, the love of Christ, the ethics of Buddha, the morals of Confucius, the 5 pillars of Islam, and the deep realization of the Hindus all find an exalted place in the philosophy of unity. In unity, we believe that all people are created with sacred worth, regardless of culture, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or creed. And we know that neither God nor unity leave anyone out. So let us join together now in prayer. Eternal presence, presence of all that is. We open our hearts and our minds this morning to feeling your presence, to knowing you. May we know God. Yes. How wonderful it is to have the realization that it is in you that we live and move and have our being. And that within us it is your life that enlivens each of us. As we look around us, we begin to see just the first signs of spring. And we know that all things have a beginning, all things have an end. And yet, that is not true for you, for you are the Alpha and the Omega, all that is, all that ever was, and all that will ever be. How wonderful it is to even look at a blade of grass and recognize that the life of that blade of grass is enlivened with your presence. Every little animal, every human being is an expression of your divine presence. And we affirm together that those who are not aware of your presence within them, that they are spiritual beings having a human experience, we affirm that they will become enlightened, aware, so that as we affirm that all the leaders of our world come together in a spirit of harmony and peace, that there can be a cooperation, peace throughout our whole planet. So we affirm that each and every person is in the process of becoming enlightened to your presence within them. We hold in our hearts those who have asked for prayer, for those who are suffering in any form, through war, through natural disaster, through violence. We lift them up to you, seeing the perfect result of every situation unfolding right now: health and healing, prosperity, comfort, support, and divine order. How grateful we are to know that as we send out vibrations of love, of joy, and gratitude, moves out into the world to bless others, to be a source of enlightenment, a source of peace for all. We remember that it is written that when the disciples asked Jesus, "Lord, how shall we pray?" He said to them, "Pray like this." And together we say the Lord's Prayer as translated from the Aramaic, which is on the screen. Infinite presence, which is everywhere. Your name is sacred. Your kingdom is come. Your will is throughout the earth, even as it is throughout the universe. You give us our needful bread from day to day, and you forgive our offenses, even as we forgive our offenders. You let us not enter into terrorism, but separate us from errors, because yours is the kingdom, the power, the song, and the praise, from all ages, throughout all ages, sealed in faith, trust, and truth. Amen. Each of us is the light and love of God spiritual beings having a human experience. You are God's beloved, and we embrace you today.
Hello, all you out there in interwebs land. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. So this morning, I really don't have much to say to introduce this song, except that it was shockingly easy to find, considering it's a very niche subject. But it's a Karen Drucker song, and of course, she's got songs that cover just about everything. And so I'm so grateful that there's a performance track for it. And that's really all I've got. So, Alice, whenever you're ready. Listen to the children. Listen to the children. Listen to the children, 'cause they're the ones who know. Listen to the children. Listen to the children. Listen to the children, 'cause they're the ones who know. Listen to the children, 'cause they're the ones who see all of the life, beauty, and love. The children hold the key. They can teach us how to view the world through eyes of peace. When we listen to the children, then we'll see. Listen to the children. Listen to the children. Listen to the children, 'cause they're the ones who know. Listen to the children, 'cause they're the ones who hear all of the joy, music, and laughter. The children have no fear. They can teach us how to let the love of God be near. When we listen to the children, then we'll hear. Listen to the children. Listen to the children. Listen to the children, 'cause they're the ones who know. Listen to the children. Listen to the children. Listen to the children, 'cause they're the ones who know. Yes, they're the ones who know. Oh, they're the ones who know.
Well, once again, you did it, Lucinda. You always find just the perfect song for whatever Reverend Don or I might be speaking about on Sunday, and we appreciate that. You may have seen the title of the talk. Did we really learn it all in kindergarten? And I came across this. I save everything. But I came across this and realized that I had shared this message with you 10 years ago. I couldn't believe it was that long. And I thought, well, there's a lot of folks who may not have been here at that time and hadn't heard it. And it's kind of a fun message. I'm guessing many of us remember the great poem written by Robert Fulghum that seemed to appear everywhere back in the 70s. It was entitled, "Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten." In my office at the college, I had a huge picture about this large framed that a friend gave to me with that poem on it and a big red apple down at the bottom. And I really enjoyed it. However, I have to confess, when someone initially told me about the poem that they had cut from an article in the magazine, I looked at the title of it, and I was certain it was going to be a put down of higher education. And given that I was teaching at a college, I thought, well, what is this, you know? So I was convinced that I would not like it. But when I read it, I loved it immediately. So I'm going to share it with you now, and we have some slides on the screen, and we'll start with the first one. It says, "All I really need to know, I learned in kindergarten. All I really need to know about how to live, what to do, how to be, I learned in kindergarten. Wisdom was not at the top of the graduate school mountain, but there in the sand pile at Sunday school. These are the things I learned. Share everything. Play fair. Don't hit people. Put things back where you find them. Clean up your own mess. Don't take things that are not yours. Say you're sorry when you hurt someone. Wash your hands before you eat. Flush. Warm cookies and cold milk are good for you. Live a balanced life. Learn some and think some and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work every day some. Take a nap every afternoon. Ah, yes. When you go out into the world, watch out for traffic. Hold hands and stick together. Be aware of wonder. Remember the little seed in the styrofoam cup? The roots go down and the plant goes up, and nobody really knows how or why, but we are all like that. Goldfish and hamsters and white mice and even the little seeds in the styrofoam cup, they all die. So do we. And then remember the Dick and Jane books and the first word you learned, the biggest word of all, look. Look. Everything you need to know is in there somewhere. The golden rule and love and basic sanitation, ecology and politics, equality and sane living. Take any of those items and extrapolate it into sophisticated adult terms and apply it to your family life or your work or your government or your world, and it holds true and clear and firm. Think what a better world it would be if all the world, the whole world, had cookies and milk about 3 o'clock every afternoon, and then lay down with our blankies for a nap. Or if all governments had a basic policy to always put things back where they found them and to clean up their own mess. And still, it is true, no matter how old you are, when you go out in the world, it is best to hold hands and stick together. By the way, if you like it and you don't have a copy of it, I made a few extra copies. I'd be glad to give it to you. So do you think it's really true that we can take any one of those items and extrapolate it into some sophisticated adult term and apply to any aspects in our lives, our family, our work, our government, our world? Well, I spent some time looking it over and realizing that there are wonderful applicable messages that we can look at from a variety of perspectives and find meaning for ourselves. I focused on just a few of the thoughts and will share them from my perspective. Hopefully you can see more wisdom and guidance that you can use in your life. Let's start with share everything. I truly believe that most of if not all, wars have started because people don't want to share. People in power not only want to protect what they have, including land and power itself, but believe it's better so to have more. So let's take over as much as we possibly can, and there never seems to be enough. Sometimes we witness that same kind of thinking when we read that executives of companies make hundreds of times more money than the people who are doing the work in the company and for the business that's earning a profit. Often it doesn't seem that there's a willingness to share. I'm guessing what we're seeing in these situations is a belief in lack and limitation, as well as fear of losing what has already been given or gained. Speaking of sharing, George Lamsa, the Aramaic scholar, believes that the miracle of loaves and fishes occurred partly because Jesus inspired such love, joy, peace, and a sense of togetherness that those people that were present to hear him speak, each person felt guided to share what food they had brought with them. Putting it all together, there was enough for everyone to have something to eat. In other words, he taught them to share and that abundance would be the outcome. A few months ago, Reverend Don told us the story about stone soup. And some of you probably remember it if you watched Captain Kangaroo all those many years ago. I think it was in a book too, but I never saw it. The story is about a few soldiers who were coming home from war. They were hungry and they entered a small village and knocked on doors asking people to give them a little food. Each person declared that they had no food to share with others, so the soldiers said, "All right, in that case, we'll make food for you." So they built a big fire and put a big pot of water, and they put some stones in it. And then one person said, "Well, I can add some carrots," and another person said, "I have potatoes to put in," and soon others found something that they could add to the stone soup. In a little while, the soldiers and the people of the village had a wonderful meal because they were prompted to share when they let go of the fear. What was too little for a few became plenty for a crowd. They shared, and once again, there was enough for all. It's a great story, and I think there's a good lesson in it for kids and maybe for us too. Fulgham says, live a balanced life. Learn some, think some, draw and paint some, sing and dance and work and play every day some. For many of us, it may be hard to live a life of balance. Often work or taking care of a sick family member, maintaining a household, and all the pressures we experience make it difficult to find time to simply be, to enjoy ourselves, to play or dance and sing or create from our inner passion. Some years ago, a lot more years ago than I like to remember, I often gave seminars on creating balance in your life. And one of the things that I found people had the most trouble with was having good boundaries. I saw that they often seemed to lack the ability to say no or to set limits. Set limits on what they were willing to give or to do for others. So they really rarely had time for themselves to experience the joys of life. Maybe that fits us too. Maybe that fits us too. Even Jesus needed silence and solitude. We read in Matthew chapter 14, verse 33, that after Jesus had been teaching for many days, he dismissed the crowd, and after he had dismissed the crowd, he went up to the mountain to pray by himself. Prayer is certainly an important part of having a balanced life. Prayer, the conscious connection with God allows us to experience peace and harmony and to have the strength and the courage to deal with whatever curves might be tossed our way. Solitude and being in the silence also allows us to let go of anxieties and worries that have us caught up. Perhaps we remember something that Jesus said to his followers, which I'm going to read to you from the Bible, and it's from Luke chapter 12, verses 22 to 31, and it goes like this. Then Jesus said to his disciple, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, and yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable are you than the birds? Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Consider how the wildflowers grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you, you of little faith? And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. For the pagan world runs after such things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek first the kingdom, his kingdom, and these things will be given to you." Robert Fulghum also reminds us that of our Dick and Jane readers. I actually still have one. It's not one that I had from childhood, but it's one that I found someplace, and I grabbed it and I took it, and I still love to look at it. And he says, you know, that the biggest word of all was look. Why do you suppose he emphasizes that word, look? For me, the main purpose in that is when I look, I am able to see all the wonders of creation, or perhaps, for those of you that took our metaphysical class way back when, rather than say the wonders of creation, I should say ideation. You get the point. Anyway, but whatever word we use, we remember that God is life, and therefore as we look, we can witness the presence of life surrounding us everywhere, as human life, animal life, the life of plants, all living things have answered the call to life. I remember a minister I had one time, and he was talking about, he was in the middle of his sermon, and he said that not long ago he had gone outside and there was a crack in the sidewalk, and through that crack a little dandelion had come up. And he said, you know, talk about answering the call to life under the most difficult of situations. So life is God, and God is life. Fulgham also reminds us that the little seeds we planted in the styrofoam cup, hopefully nowadays they're paper, that as all things, they grow according to the laws of life. And as such, the roots go down and the plants go up. In another place, Fulgham says, when you go out into the world, watch out for traffic. Now, obviously, as children, we were taught, when you go out, you look both ways before you cross the street. And we learned that ourselves and taught our own children that, to look before you cross the street, look both ways and be careful in traffic. But while it's still important as adults to be careful in the actual traffic, there's another way that we can think about traffic too. The traffic that often clutters our minds, the traffic that consists of worrying, the traffic of angry thoughts and feelings, the traffic of unforgiving thoughts, the traffic of minding other people's business, the traffic that keeps us so busy, so preoccupied that we don't have time to be aware of the presence of God within. So let's be careful in the traffic. But what about Fulgham's assertion that cookies and milk at 3 o'clock are good for us? Now, doesn't that seem contrary to everything that we've been told? First of all, as adults, we're often told we shouldn't drink milk. Personally, I totally dismiss that idea. I have milk every day. And then think of the fat and the sugar and the cookies. It's the wrong kinds of fat, and sugar is declared by some as being bad for us, as bad for us as smoking. Yet perhaps all things in moderation. But what if, as Fulgham says, everyone throughout the world had cookies and milk at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and then lay down with their blankies and took a nap? Can you just imagine what a wonderful world it would be if everyone, everywhere, just stopped everything, focused on the smell of freshly baked cookies and the feel of cold milk washing them down, and then took a peaceful 20-minute nap? No stress, no worry, no fighting, no trying to get ahead of the next guy, no war. Sure, that's probably pie in the sky, or should I say cookies and milk in the sky, but isn't that an amazingly wonderful idea? Fulgham ends his wonderful poem or essay by saying, and it's still true, no matter how old you are, when you go out in the world, it's still best to stick together and hold hands. I love that. I love the idea of being with loved ones and holding hands and as a showing of caring and tenderness and togetherness. But what if we took it a step further? What if everyone in our community, our country, and our world had the metaphysical thought to hold hands and stick together? We often see that happens in catastrophes such as earthquakes, floods, hurricanes. People come together and they work together and they help each other. And yet when the situation is resolved, it seems it's just back to business as usual. No holding hands, no sticking together, and maybe even an us against them attitude. But then again, I often see cause for optimism. Every year, except during the time of COVID, typically there's a 9/11 commemoration at the Islamic Center here in Waco. Many of us have attended, and we see Christians and Jews, Muslims, Buddhists, and non-believers all gather together in a spirit of brotherhood to remember together a tragedy that touched people of every creed and every nation, and to pray together that such things might once and for all cease everywhere. As the Apostle Paul wrote in Galatians chapter 3, verse 38, there is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor male nor female, for you are all one in Christ. We remember that unity teaches that we remember that unity teaches what unity teaches, and for that matter, what quantum physics has revealed, that we are all connected, that we are all one. We remember that each of us is an expression of the Christ, God's idea of the perfect human made manifest. So when it's all said and done, maybe we really did learn it all in kindergarten, and it's still true that no matter how old you are, when you go out into the world, it's still best to hold hands and stick together. So let's take those thoughts now into a time of meditation. And as always, I invite you to become comfortable where you are seated, to allow the chair to support you as a metaphor for the way in which we are always completely and totally supported by the love of God. So as you allow your eyes to gently close and take in a deep cleansing breath, I invite you to feel that presence of God within you. Feel it moving in and through and as you. Knowing that you are an expression of God's divine life, love, and all good things. We think about the presence of God, not some remote place out there, but an absolute knowing, an absolute feeling that God is present, that God is the life that infills us. And so for the next few moments, I invite you to allow my words to be your words. Gentle Spirit, as I turn within and feel your presence in and around my heart space, I am grateful. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for the joy that I have experienced, for the love that has been mine and continues to be. For I know that love and life and joy and peace and beauty are the gifts that you provide in and through and as each of us. I want to live from a place of love, from a place of non-judgment, from a place of knowing that you and I and we are all one. That we are here for a divine purpose, a purpose of giving and receiving love, the greatest imaginable resource, the greatest imaginable feeling. I want to be that love, to share that love with all whom I'm encountering each day, and to send it out to bless the world, to bless all who share this planet with us, and perhaps even beyond throughout the universe, to send out that love to wherever life is present. I want to become like a little child, to just be filled with awe and joy at all I behold, at all that I have, all that is. And so for the next few moments, I allow myself to just be and feel your love in and through my entire being in a few moments of silence. And now as we prepare to bring our awareness back to this time and this place, we know that we can always turn within to consciously seek the presence of God that is always there. It is our very life. It is the love that we share with the world. And we are grateful. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen and amen.
Okay, yeah. Okay, this is a time in our service when we have an opportunity to give back to the work of Spirit through our offerings and our tithes. We give in love and gratitude for our own prosperity in its many forms, which comes to us through God, our instant, constant, and abundant source. Will the ushers please come forward? I invite you to hold your offerings in your hand as we say our offertory blessings together.
Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive, and I am grateful.
Forward so we may bless these offerings. So if you haven't brought any, you can bring some, or if you want to bring more, you can, or you don't have to. And the other thing I wanted to let you know is that Daily Word for March and April is out there on the credenza. So go ahead and pick it up since March will start before we get here next Sunday. So, all right, shall we circle up? Catherine. They're supposed to be new, yes, yeah. So, all right, shall we circle up? Hi, Jeffy. Around this circle and all of these beautiful faces, knowing that each one is an expression of God's divine presence, God's love, beauty, joy. Let's say our prosperity affirmation together. We affirm the continued growth and prosperity of Unity Spiritual Center of Waco, and we are grateful. In our prayer for protection, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well.